So my name is Rob Douglas. I'm the Executive Director of Australian Owner Manager, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here today just for this brief information session with regards to the Owner Manager program. So joining me today is Cam Wilkie from NAB. So Cam's the head of complex lending across the country for all of the metro area of the bank. And then we also have Hayley Cooper, who runs a manufacturing company based in Brisbane. Peter Sanderson, who runs an IT company, IT service company that's based in Sydney, Brisbane. And I think, Peter, you might even have a presence in Melbourne as well now.
And Perth.
And Perth.
Yeah.
And then we also have Peter McConnell online, who runs a steel fabrication and distribution business in Queensland. And so you'll hear from people throughout and have the opportunity to ask questions. You'll see at the bottom there's a link just to Q&A. So feel free to type questions in there as we progress, and we'll endeavour to answer them as we go through or at the end. But just to begin, I'm just going to share a screen here and just take you through a pretty brief overview with regards to the Owner Manager program. So for many of you, you would be probably familiar with the fact that the whole philosophy of the program is around not only the business, but very much about you as an individual and your role in that business. The program is designed for businesses with revenues between 3 and 100 million, and it covers those three interrelated areas throughout. There's 2 facilitators, generally somewhere between 12 and 25 owners as part of the program, and then 30 odd different subject matter experts that come in along the way. And then fundamentally, if we look at the participants, they come from a really broad range of industries. If there's dominant industries, it's the trades and manufacturing. But you'll see a really broad range of people within the room, and from different size cohorts within that area that I mentioned before. And all of that adds to the diversity and the richness of the experience as part of the program. The types of businesses, here's just a selection of logos across the 250 odd businesses that we've seen over the years that have come and participated and taken part in the program. So we see larger companies, we see smaller companies. If there's an average, it generally works out at revenue at about $20 million and a number of staff at about 29. But to be honest with you, averages don't really tell a very good story. In terms of the types of owners that we see, look, we don't see very many distressed businesses. They're always successful. Most of them are at some point of transition, whether that's growth, succession, exit, new markets, new products, or it may be that they're just, tired, lonely, bored. It just depends on the owner. Most are looking for, greater clarity in terms of the types of things they're doing, motivation, those types of things. They always generally have a desire to learn and to grow, often feel isolated and wondering where to next. For many, the work-life balance, sometimes, family and other personal relations are drawing a short straw in terms of the hours that are being worked. Most want to work a bit more strategic in terms of their roles within the business, and all see greater opportunity and potential for their business and the desire to lead and be a better owner. And I guess it comes back to the fundamental principle of what got you here isn't going isn't going to get you there. There's always a period of transition and change, and that's where the program really helps. It really helps to kickstart the next level and the next direction. And so in terms of the program outline itself, it's made up of 5 blocks, 3 days each. The residential blocks, all of the owners come and stay together. The program starts off looking at the current state of your business, really challenging you on, fundamental things around who are your customers, who are your markets, where do you make your money, what makes you different, what drives value, those types of things. And then in block 2, we start to fine tune that. We spend a bit of time on the finance, operational type issues, improving your people practices, and really trying to help the current state of the business perform better, which leads us into block 3, where we spend a whole day in what we call panel sessions, where we put all of the owners into small groups of 4 or 5 owners each. And then we bring in people that have good business experience. They've either built businesses and sold them, or they've advised a number of businesses, and the purpose there is to really challenge each other on the current state of your business. And so you get a really clear understanding of where you're at and whether what you're currently doing is sustainable into the future. And then the focus of the program changes, and it starts to be more about what's the opportunity and what's there in terms of moving the business forward. How are you going to grow it, or how are you going to take it to the next level? Or it may be that you're looking to exit, or you have a succession type event, or, as I mentioned earlier, new products, new markets. It really just depends. And that brings it back to the future, and what does the future look like? And then in block 5, we repeat those same panel sessions, and we put you in with different advisors, and rather than talking about the current state of your business, we're really talking about the future. And so you walk out of the program with a very clear idea of where you're headed and where you're going moving forward. And along the way, there's various pieces of assessment, whether that's from a financial perspective, or whether it's your management or your leadership, markets, or even your personal health and well-being, your personal relations. We look at all of those types of things along the way. And fundamentally, it's, I suppose, from a learning perspective, it's about really challenging you to step back and to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it, and then putting that into action. And so everything we do is grounded in solid business principles and theory, but we're more interested in the application and the practical side of things in relation to that. So when you walk out of a block, we're looking to make sure that you can actually apply that material in a day-to-day type of situation. And along the way, there's a couple of facilitators that are there with you. One generally comes from a people perspective, and the other from a strategy business models perspective. And then there's 30-odd subject matter experts that come in along the way, or guest speakers, to really challenge you on different topics and what you're doing, and just to expand your vision and your horizons. In terms of the venues, we look for venues that are just out of town, that are generally about an hour's drive, and they just give you the sense of getting away. And so there's a couple of reasons for this. It helps to clear the mind. It also creates an environment where you're open to new ideas and looking to change and improve. And it ensures that people don't take the option of just ducking back to the office or picking up something that might need to be done or picked up. And so, it very much we focus on once you're in those sessions, that you're present and you're a part of what the process is and what's happening. And so I might there just stop and then just pass over to Cam from NAB. And NAB have been a great supporter of the program over the years, and just let Cam kind of talk a little bit about, from the bank's perspective, why they made a decision to be a part of this and the connection with the program.
Thanks, Rob. I might just give a little bit of background. So yeah, like Rob said, I'm the head of complex lending solutions for NAB, which does all the deal structuring. I'm 20 years in banking, and most of that was actually overseas. I've worked across different sectors of the bank, including insolvency and restructuring, lending, credit risk, project management, and currently my current role in deal structuring. The main reason I tell you that is as someone that's worked in different jurisdictions and different banks, what I've found is both in terms of NAB's commitment to this program and the program itself, it's undoubtedly both in terms of feedback from people that have been through it and from what I've seen myself, it's probably the most practically applicable program that I've ever seen or been involved in. And I think with NAB's commitment to that, it's whilst there's a monetary commitment to it, the bigger commitment for us is more about, seeing a thriving and growing sort of mid-market in Australia. And that's what it's all about. And that's what the program is about. And NAB's financial commitment is one way of doing that. I think the other commitment obviously we make is getting involved with Rob and the team to try and engage with all the owner managers on the program about funding for growth. And when we do that, we don't come in that with a spruiking lens. We're coming in that with the lens of what's best for your business, not really what's best for NAB. So in that perspective, it's been really enjoyable to be involved. And I can firmly say that, engaging with people like Hayley who are on the call and Peter who I've had the fortunate to meet previously, every owner I speak to that comes out of this is better for it. And many of the referrals that we see coming across are as much coming from our clients to clients as they are from bankers to clients. And so the commitment is real, and it's something that I've been really privileged to be involved with. And again, NAB will continue that commitment going forward, both in terms of funding that for our customers, but equally also committing our resources and information to Rob and the team to help anyone that's involved in the program go forward. So, Rob, I'm not sure if you want more from me in that, but through the thing, I'm happy to take any questions from a NAB perspective as well.
No, I think great. Great to have you on board. And as I said earlier, NAB have been a fantastic supporter. And I remember in the early days, NAB, looked at a whole range of different options. And as you can imagine, as a large organisation and as Australia's largest business bank, it wasn't something that they took lightly. And I can still remember the trial that they did where there was about a dozen customers that did the program, and just the feedback that, came from that, which was, I guess, really helped NAB in terms of making the decision. So, but yeah, very much appreciate your support and ongoing commitment to the program. I might now just, hear from each of the alumni, so people can just get a sense of their experience. And so I might turn to you first, Hayley, and maybe you can just talk a little bit about your business, give us a really quick overview, and then just talk a little bit about your experience on the owner manager program and what you got out of it personally.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rob, for giving me the opportunity. As Rob mentioned before, I'm in manufacturing, so I manufacture electrical parts for trucks, boats, cranes and tunnels. I have two manufacturing companies and a wholesale company. When I joined the program, I guess I was at a crossroads, so I probably fitted the category of, not knowing what I wanted, exactly where I was going, how I was going to do that. And so that was probably the primary reason for me to join. It's, a program like this is not something that I would normally sign up for, but, the program for me, I found out who I was. I found out where I wanted to go. And I guess today, I have so much confidence in what I'm doing. I have, before I started the program, I was working 100 hours a week, and now I only work 5 days. I get to spend more time with my family, quality time. I'm healthier, I'm fitter, I'm more energized. My team is more energized, and I guess the outcomes of my companies and the outcomes of my personal life, have improved, so much, and I am so grateful, for what I experienced. So, I learned so much about, where my gaps were professionally and also filling them in, where my gaps were in my company and filling those in as well, and where my gaps were in my personal life. And I guess for me now, and it's probably 12 months on, all my planets have aligned. Even though it's tough to get through, COVID and the changing environments, it's in a way, comparatively, it's a walk in the park to I think how I might have coped with it before. Some of the things that my company has experienced positively, we've made some great inroads, profitability wise, but also socially and culturally. So we always had job ads for, up for about 10 to 20 people that we couldn't fill. So we run, staff of around 100 normally, full-time equivalents. And now we have a waiting list for people, people that want to come back and work for us, or, have heard, the kind of culture or the company that we have and want to work for us. So, I feel very blessed that I had the opportunity to do the program. The return on investment, I mean, I'm a numbers person. I can't even calculate that. It's a bit subjective, but 500% would do. I've just gained so much from it, and the support from NAB. I always used to say to my bank manager, Mark, more give, less take. And I can say on this occasion, it was a lot of give by the NAB, and I can't be more grateful for the opportunity to do the program, and the support from NAB at the same time to complete the program. So I guess from my perspective, the investment is very small for the outcomes you're going to get, and I also see that with the other participants in the program that I did, and they've all experienced. We caught up with them yesterday, and they've all gone on double revenues, acquisitions, floated. New projects in different states, new services, products, new ideas. It's quite inspirational to have those people in my life now, and to put it out there, and get the feedback and the quality of feedback and critical review that I think was lacking in my professional life. So yeah.
Thanks, Hayley. Appreciate your your honesty and candid approach. And I would say in these types of things, everything that we do is very genuine. And so even in what you're hearing today, none of this is scripted. Hayley, Peter and Peter, they all said to me beforehand, well, is there anything you want us to say? And it's like, well, no, you just say what you think, and express your honest opinion about what you experienced. And so and that very much follows our approach, both in terms of connecting with other owners prior to doing the program, but also on the program itself. It's very genuine and it's very real. And so on that note, I might just pass over to you, Peter Sanderson, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience.
Sure, thanks, Rob. Look, my name's Peter Sanderson. I run a company which is now called One Team IT. We were a company called Team Computing. General IT supplier. We have a niche, particular type of IBM server that we did some work in, and now we kind of did sort of general IT work and did specialize in backup as a service and also data integration for the companies we worked with. We had some big companies as clients, but we were rather small. We were on the smaller side of the group that joins OMP. We had about a $6 million turnover. The program itself, it took me a while to decide to do the program, as Rob can attest. We'd had numerous conversations over the course of probably 18 months before I finally committed to doing it. And part of that commitment was me convincing the other owner of my business that it was worthwhile doing and that it was something that I needed. NAB helped with that. We are an NAB customer. Cam said he wasn't spruiking, but I'll do it for him. NAB have been incredibly supportive of us, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as I tell you what my journey was like. In terms of the program itself, you can expect great camaraderie. You feel very supported, but you also feel stretched. And for me, the most important one is I felt more sane after having done the program. Knowing that other people have the same problems that you do, knowing that other people have seen the same sorts of challenges that you're seeing in your business is incredibly valuable, and it's very validating that you're not just stuck on this problem on your own. Beyond that, it is incredibly fun. I don't think we spent a session where we didn't laugh and we didn't enjoy genuinely the company of each other, and also the skills we were gaining. From the very first session, I took things back to my business, which I implemented and improved my business. Our particular program was stretched because of COVID. We, instead of going for 5 or 6 months, we went for about 11 months. It might have been the longest on record. But in a way, that wasn't bad, because we did have a chance to see the impact of what we had learned on our businesses, to the point that by the time I finished the program, that financial year, we had our best ever financial year, both in terms of revenue and profitability. So, and really the only thing that had changed in our business on the positive side was the OMP. On the negative side was COVID. We balanced it all out, and we still managed to kick goals that year. So I was very happy with that. The other thing I wanted to say, just so you don't think it's all milk and honey, it is hard. It's not, you're not going along for a jolly. It's quite challenging, and you need to be prepared to put a lot of work in, not just during the sessions, but in between. You've got to actually put the yards in if you want to get what you want out of it. If you're not that sort of person and you want to be spoon-fed, it's not for you. But if you're committed to effecting real change in your business, I can highly commend the program to you. My journey now has, and I feel, as Hayley pointed out, I now feel more confident to attack bigger things, to the point that we merged with another company about 6 months ago, and I'm now running a business that's turning over 4 times what it was turning before. I've got twice as many staff, about 3 times as many customers, and I'm not overwhelmed. So I think that's testament to what I learned in OMP.
Thanks, Peter.
No worries.
And it's been great to see your success and the change of your business in terms of the growth, and also the borders opening, so you can actually get to your subsidiary offices now. So.
Yeah, I actually had a trip up to Brisbane last week for the first time in 7 months, so I was very pleased to do that. Yeah.
And then finally, we have Peter McConnell, and Peter recently completed the program, and so over to you, Peter.
Well, thanks for that, Rob. Peter and Hayley said it so well. Didn't leave too much on the plate for me to say, but I'll just tell you my story, I guess. Owner of a structural steel company for 30 years, roughly 100 employees at the moment, over a few branches, that sort of thing. I was pretty nervous actually entering into the OMP. I don't know if you picked up on that, Rob, but 40 years since I've been in a classroom, dropped out in grade 10. So it was pretty daunting for me to go back to school, because I've been doing it my own way for a good long while. And what was nice about it was you immediately felt relaxed. The people in the group were all in the same boat that I was. You know, they made me feel welcomed. And even though like Peter said, it is a fair bit of pressure at times. It's really pressure that you put on yourself, because you only get out what you put in. So for me, it was a great experience. I guess some of the things that have happened since is we've managed to secure some longevity for the business as the founding directors are stepping off. We now have a loan funded share in place for our general manager, which is coming into effect. We've got some passive incomes worked out for retiring founding directors. We're bedding down a senior leadership team that's currently falling into place. And I suppose the biggest thing is I'm actually sitting on a 5-year plan. So I actually have a pretty good direction where I'm going to invest my energy in the business for the next 5 years, and take it through to a $30 million business in the process. I think other than that, I think also on a personal level, I've come away understanding that I need to keep myself healthy. I have to have a good work-life balance. So my fitness is improving. I'm having regular checkups, and we're also looking at our personal finances to do our personal plan towards retirement, and that's all coming together as well. So I think it's from a business and a personal point of view, it's been fantastic for us. The guest speakers were first class, absolutely first class. We're introducing technology and digitization within the business through contacts we've made. We're we're having team building and leadership building through one of the contacts that we made. And I think every time we went, we were never disappointed by the guest speakers. For me, I think though the greatest outcome was the panel sessions. So twice along the way, we have a panelist session where a group comes together and a real focus on the direction where we're taking the business. And for those, that was, for me, what I went there for, was to get some confidence in where I'm taking this business. And now I feel completely confident in doing that. I've got a plan, and I'm going to work towards seeing it through to my retirement. Yeah, so it's been perfect for me. Thanks to the OMP. Yeah.
Very good, Peter, and it was good to see you yesterday. It's fascinating for me to often to see these groups, because I sit there and often at the back of the room, and you've got 25 or 30 people in the room at times, and you're looking and you're seeing, well, every one of these people is the owner of a business with revenues greater than $3 million. And you just think, what a fantastic kind of network and cohort and group of people that you're a part of. And I don't know of anywhere else that you can find that type of community or that type of connection amongst people. And there's just so much value in that. So I appreciate you all being willing to kind of, come on board today and just share a few thoughts. And so I'm just going to just share, just finally, just a couple more things. So in terms of mechanics, dates, there's a program coming up based in New South Wales that kicks off in March, similarly in late March in Victoria. And then there's another program in Queensland in August. The next Queensland program's currently full. In terms of results, look, you've heard a number of points there. In terms of our statistics, we see generally about a 12% annual compounding revenue growth over 3 years. And that kind of carries on over a 10-year period with some of the research that we've done with our partners in New Zealand. And obviously going with that, you'll see an average growth in the number of staff. But in addition to that, what you've heard is you'll see a significant change in work-life balance, and, simple things that we measure from time to time, or even things around improved sleep, but just improved relationships and health and well-being, and those types of things are one of the things we see out of the program as well. Beyond the program, someone asked the question, is there ongoing support? After the program, we have various options that are exclusive to alumni. And then we also have a program that's designed for senior managers within the businesses. And the reason for that is to get an alignment between your senior team and the owners moving forward to continue to build the business. And there's a little bit more about that there, which, the whole purpose of this, as I said, is, we talk about delegating to capability. And so, part of that is building the capability of your leadership team moving forward. But that's probably enough from me. Might just bring up some other questions here. There's one here from that asks, what do you see as the biggest benefit from the program that you've received? So any of the alumni want to share any thoughts on the biggest benefit that they feel they've got?
For me, there's a number of, I think equally important benefits is professional development, comradeship, as Peter mentioned, having that resource so that people can give you some critical feedback who are in similar situations. Of course, increased profitability, working towards the goals that you've got and achieving them, and having that accountability, that goes with that. Okay.
I'd have to concur with Hayley. I think all of those things are true, but perhaps the biggest benefit for me, I think, as business owners, you're in the thick of things every single day. You're living your business in many cases, and you can become quite focused in your thinking. And what this provided through the input of people with completely different businesses to mine is that you start to think of things that you otherwise wouldn't. So you're getting quite a number of left field perspectives on what it is you're doing, and that allows you to broaden your own perspective. So for me, the biggest advantage is a broadening of my perspective and my willingness to accept ideas that perhaps are a little bit divergent from my own.
Oh, will they terminate that?
And I suppose one of the other questions that hasn't been asked here, but I'll throw it in because it's generally a really common one, is just, how do you afford the time? It's 3 days a month. How do you, when you're working 100 hours a week, or you've got those types of situations, how do you afford that time? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a good one. I think it's certainly challenging at the start, but I think the overall goal is to make sure that at the end of the course, you are spending a good amount of time working on strategy. So you've got to set that time aside to work on strategy. So by starting to set the time aside to create the plan and to work on the assignments from the OMP, you're setting a good pattern of habit there of setting aside some time per week to continue working on strategy for years to come. Yeah. So it's basically just good habits formed, I think, at the start.
For me, like, I struggled, Rob remembers because he has so many, but, I struggled to even rock up to the first session because I hadn't yet got to the point where I realised I had to make a much bigger effort and much bigger commitment if I wanted to move forward. And so, I'm so, and I do it much more disciplined in making the time to grow myself and my companies and my family. So it takes effort. It's hard, but it's worth it.
And the final point on that I would also make is that you have to make your senior team, or the people that you rely on in your business, understand that you are going to make this time and that they need to step up during that time. And a lot of them grow as a result of you actually taking time out of the business and giving them a chance to shine. So for me, again, like you, Hayley, it was hard to do, especially the first one. My goodness, you're constantly tempted to sneak out and get on the phone, but it's well worth taking that time out.
Thank you. And one other question, which someone's asked here. How do you go sharing such personal information with the other participants? Like a lot of you have kind of said some quite personal things today, but how do you go sharing personal stuff in the room with others there?
Yeah, I never found that to be an issue. You form immediate bonds from the time you're there, and it is a cone of silence while you're there, and there's a high level of trust. I have not for a second doubted anything I've said has left that room. It's been fantastic. Everybody's there for the same reason, and to open up their business, and that you just get that sense of confidence from everybody in the room that your secrets are safe.
I think the facilitators are not stupid. There are parts in that first block that are specifically designed to build that trust within the team, and you expose as much or as little as you like. Nobody's forcing you to say anything, and some people expose more of their business than others, and I think those that did and were willing to share that information got a whole lot more out of the program. And I for one echo Peter. You just build that bond and that trust within that first day.
Yeah, I concur with Peter, with both of you. It wasn't an issue for me. It's, to move forward, you've got to be honest. And if you're not honest, what do you get out of it? You're limited. And as Peter said, you're not forced to share anything you don't want to share, but the more you can share, the more you'll get out of it. And like Peter said, you trust, like you form that trust in the beginning, and you feel comfortable in sharing those, what you might have thought were, pretty secret or confidential sort of information. So
I think too, it was nice that even after you left the conference room and you went to the bar and had a couple of beers, those same sorts of conversations carried on over a couple of beers, and some good ideas were hatched amongst the group outside the conference room. Yeah.
Oh, even beyond the program, Pete. But
Yeah.
you know, afterwards, I know I still catch up with my colleagues from the program, and you know, we're constantly comparing notes and ideas.
Absolutely.
So I'm mindful of everyone's time, and so if there's any other kind of questions, just use the Q&A function just down the bottom of your screen. But one other question that commonly comes up is just around the types of people. Sometimes you go to these types of events, or you participate in them, and you get people that have a significant kind of opinion of themselves, or they might have what we would call a large ego, and those types of things. I'd just be interested to know how you found the other participants in the room and those types of things.
Yeah, I don't mind answering that. I actually, I remember asking you, Rob, there, how did you keep all the, I used an expletive word, but how do you keep all the idiots from applying, if you like? And you said to me, well, they don't apply because they already know everything, so there's nothing they can learn. And I think that's really nailed it. Hey, we're all there with an open book and wanting to learn, and they just do not apply, those that think they know it all. Yeah.
For me, I think we're all, I think all of us are pretty individual, quirky because what we do anyway. So I think there are so many different personalities, and, I think you have to have some level of ego to do what we do. And, but I think it all gels because, as Peter said, we're all there trying to get to the same destination in our different businesses or industries or life. So it sort of wasn't an issue.
There's diversity, no question, and there's some very different personalities. But there are young, there are old, there are male, there are female, there are quiet, there are loud, there are funny, there are serious. It's a mix, and I think that's what makes it so enriching.
Well, sorry, Kerry.
I was just going to say, I looked around the room when I first went to, and I thought, there's weird and wonderful characters in here. There's got to be half of them that I'm never going to get to know, or maybe never get to like. But I'll tell you what, by the end of block 5, we were all hugging and become best mates. We still keep in contact today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
So I can't see any further questions coming up. So I just want to thank you all for your time and participating in this. Like I say to everyone that does the program, I'm going to give other people your name and your details just as a point of reference, and you can just say whatever you want to say about the program. And as I alluded to earlier, that's the very genuine nature of what we do. We're looking for people that fit with what we're offering, and are looking for these types of things and these types of benefits and so forth. So I just want to, Cam, is there any further comments that you'd like to make just before we close?
Oh, I don't think I could add any more than what Hayley, Peter and Peter have added. I suppose as someone, as a bit of an outsider coming into it, what I will say is on both cohorts I've been into is how welcoming the group is, and to, like Peter and Hattie said, that the conversations kind of move around. They don't just necessarily stop when you step out of the classroom. So it's great to hear that they're all still staying in contact with one another and sort of sharing that, because that's sort of intangible thing you get from these things that people don't talk about. So it's probably all I can add, Pete. But otherwise, like, as you can see, everyone's getting so much out of it, and NAB will continue its commitment going forward.
Thank you. Thanks, Cam, and thanks everyone to being online today. Appreciate your time, and we if anyone wants to reach out and have a personal conversation, or for further information or so forth, happy to do so. But that's we've obviously recorded this, so if you want to go back and rewatch the cameo performances here, you're very welcome. But above all, have a good Friday and have a good weekend, and thanks again everyone for participating. See you.
Thanks again, everyone.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.